Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Punk Rock and Four for the Road. Just wanted to take a quick second before the episode here with Throttle Therapy to give you guys a heads up about the 18th annual toy run hosted by Gator Harley-Davidson in Leesburg, Florida. Now, this is going to benefit the Salvation Army in both Lake and Sumter counties on December 4th. Sign-ups are going to be from 9 to 10:30 at Leesburg Walmart, and that's going to be $10 per person with an unwrapped gift. Or if you don't want to bring a gift, just bring 20 bucks. Kickstands are going to be up at 11 o'clock to go from Leesburg Walmart back to Gator Harley Davidson. And once you get there, you're going to be greeted with a grill, a cash bar, complimentary beer. Now, who doesn't love that shit? 50/50 raffles, and a ton of vendors for you to check out. There's also going to be a live band, Dr. Sprocket, from 11:30 to 3:30. So come out, show your support. Let's help these kids out, and don't forget to get it at Gator.
Anyway, I had to go to county lockup 30 days, and I got out, and my friends, like any good military friend should do, said, "You want to like pay rent or get food? No, let's throw a party and invite whores and have a gangbang."
Hey, welcome back to Four for the Road, everybody. I'm your host, Punk Rock. We got Gangbang Dave, we got Drifter, and then we promised you he wasn't dead. We got Tragic on as well with our special guest Staz from the American Infidels MC, and also, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the founder or one of the founders of Throttle Therapy. Is that correct?
I'm one of the founders. Yeah.
One of the founders. So I just kind of want to get into it, man. What is Throttle Therapy? What is all that about?
So what we do is we find veterans from all over the country. We bring them out to motorcycle rallies. Right now we're concentrating on Daytona and Sturgis. 6 will go with us to Daytona, and then they'll return for Sturgis. Our first group of guys coming out, and let them experience the camaraderie and brotherhood of the community. And then we find out what they need back home, whether it's counseling resources, personal trainers, financial counselors, whatever it might be, job placement type stuff. Help the VA benefits, whatever we need to do to route them in the right direction back where they're at. So we're picking up where a lot of the government and other nonprofits kind of leave off.
How did this come to be? Like, what was like that light bulb moment where you're like, this is what I want to do?
So I started, I've been riding motorcycles since 2000 and 2001. I bought my first street bike. And it was something about motorcycles just kind of drew me to it. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I found a lot of guys were congregating towards bikes and cars, a lot of vets. And there was no like Instagram or anything like that. It was MySpace back when I got out in '03. And I struggled a lot with just the placement back in society, trying to adapt to a bunch of things and just trying to find my way through the communities and everything else and just trying to find my way through life. And in 2009, I found the motorcycle community. I stopped riding back in '07. I crashed a Ducati up in Yarnell, Arizona real bad and swore off bikes altogether. And a dude that came and lived with me for a little bit got me on a Harley and completely changed my life. And it was in Phoenix, Arizona. And I started down a road, man. And we started a club together. What I didn't know at the time is he was a stolen valor case. Claimed to have 2 Purple Hearts, Bronze Star, be basically Captain America, and I found out he was a Lance Corporal in an Arty unit. So booted him, found things out, learned things in Phoenix the hard way, and I started doing the nonprofit stuff because my original vision for my club was to basically run a halfway house for vets, and it turned into us doing the Boston or Phoenix Wounded Vet Run, which come from the Boston Wounded Vet Run, and that started in 2014. Is what our first run was. Raised a series of money, all the way up to $20,000. We were giving 20 grand away to a local combat wounded vet in the Phoenix area. And then I got asked to come out to Texas and work for 22 Kill. And when I started at 22 Kill, the motorcycle program that we had started to kind of develop along the way, all it was, we ended up with a sponsorship from JMP Cycle. And me and my now fiance traveled around the country with JMP, just setting up a boot space and, talking about what we were doing. I was in Sturgis the first year. My first time going to Sturgis ever was 3 years ago. And I had a kid with me that swore off motorcycles for life. Him and his best friend that he served with, their thing was they were going to come back and ride all over the place. And his best friend committed suicide by tractor trailer. drove head on into a tractor trailer right next to him on a bike. So he's like, you know what? I'm just not going to do this anymore. Completely swore them off to the point where the first night we were going out, dude walked out of his bedroom in a purple polo in Sturgis. So it was kind of I was like, hey, you know, like time out here, man. We need to figure some things out. Spent the entire week up there with him. He was another Marine Purple Heart recipient. And we just talked, and everything about the community that trip into Sturgis clicked for me, because we had the entire rally me and him spent together, and we went from being just work acquaintances to family. And it was the last 2 days that we were up there. I had the most epic ride to date that I've ever had. We had a CVO Road King that we were raffling off. I smoked a joint leaving Rapid City, and then jumped on the bike and was heading down the hill. And I hit cruise control at 70 miles an hour, which I guarantee nobody on this call has ever done, and just cruised and enjoyed it. And a lot of things came into my head at that point. And then the very next day, I left first and I went into the cemetery, and I texted him from the top of the hill. I took a couple pictures, texted him from the top of the hill, because we were going back to the booth to tear down that day. And as I'm coming around the side of the mountain, he's pulling into the cemetery. So he didn't even barely have time to check his messages. And that's where it all clicked for me. I was like, man, I gotta introduce more people to this community and what this community has to offer. So that very next year, Daytona, leading into COVID, we brought our first class of 8 guys out to Daytona with us. And those guys are still talking today. They're actually texting each other today or yesterday through our group thread. So almost 2 years later, they're still using each other, and they used each other all the way through COVID as a resource. They're having a hard day, whatever it was, they jump on a chat and bullshit with each other. And it was about halfway through COVID, we did a Zoom meeting, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at all these guys in their faces. I got guys in Nebraska that are snowed in and quarantined. I got guys in Connecticut that are snowed in and quarantined. And they just came off the most epic trip of their life. And at that point, like, we were with 22 Kill at that point, and we had in-house counseling, but it was only licensed in Texas. So I sat back and I was like, we got to figure something out here. We got to be able to help these people that are all over the country, because there are so many great resources and great nonprofits everywhere, but the funding on their end, or the lack of knowledge on the participants' end, is what's keeping them from each other. Now, we get the calls all the time. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one thing that I thought I heard you talking about in a previous conversation. Now, the vets that get a chance to go with you guys will help them with travel arrangement, gas, the camping situation, whatever. But the vets also have to give back, right? They have to do like almost like a service day or something like that. Is that correct?
Service day meaning, what do you mean?
Like they do work in camp, or they have to be willing to participate in something, right?
Right. So here's our camp is, and I use this as just for a lack of a better term, but wax on, wax off, right? Everything has another meaning to it. When we're at the camp together, you got everybody, to include our 2-man staff at this point, to help these guys out. And we all stay in campers or tent together. We cook dinner and breakfast together, and we eat breakfast and dinner together every day. And then out of this group of 6, I'll have 2 that work the booth, while the other 4 get to go out and experience the rally. And then they rotate through the booth every day. Now, what this does is this brings back a little bit of responsibility at the camp. And they get the chance to kind of just sit and bullshit with each other, doing, either cooking or cleaning up, or, just hanging out at night or whatever it is. But at the booth, it breaks them out of their shell. And the dynamic that we have at our camp, and the one thing that we push and we stress, is trauma's trauma. My trauma, I didn't see combat, right? All you guys probably did. But my trauma is no worse than your trauma, because it's yours and it's mine. I don't understand the things that you guys go through or have gone through, but I'll at least be a brother and sit here and listen to you. And sometimes with a lot of these guys that we deal with, that's all that it takes. So when we're sitting there at that camp and all this stuff is happening and these guys are talking to each other, those walls start to come down. And by day 2 and 3, the guy that was skeptical of the program is now pitching the program through his own eyes, sitting at a booth surrounded by thousands of people, where he wouldn't even normally go to the ball with his wife and kids, all because he trusts the guy sitting next to him. And they've built that bond together. So we're not only doing a justice for the motorcycle community as far as like bringing new people into the community and a new era into the community, but we're also we're doing the same thing for the veterans. The veteran space is this is the side of the veteran. This is the side of the motorcycle community that the veterans strive for. The veterans, you know, when they come into the motorcycle community, like everybody on here is a club guy. The real reason why the patches were worn back in the day. If you listen to the stories or read the stories, or probably told any of the stories about back in the day, like dudes didn't have social media, man. They didn't have, you know, Facebook and Instagram. They can call each other and text message each other. Hey, you know, meet up here. It's like meet out in the middle of nowhere, take a left at the Sunoco in the middle of the field, and we're going to be having a party. And they'd sit there, you know, and they'd party for a week and get to know each other. Well, our camp is that setting where we put miles on the road together. We build the bonds, like I say, through the hardships of the road. And I think that's a huge aspect because it's good.
How do you find these guys?
Right now we're looking, it's hard. It's a hard one. We try not to, I always say this, you get vets in a couple of different states, right? You get them in financially stable, 100% disabled, already have a motorcycle and it's running, right? And they're good to go. Or you have guys that are strapped for cash and their bike is their only means of transportation and they work, you know, 70 hours a week. So it's kind of the first class that we put through when we were with 22, we were scrambling up until the last couple of days to find a couple guys. And that's how I ended up with my other partner. He was one of the guys that I took out. I met him the year before in Sturgis and we just kind of clicked and he came out and brought 2 guys with him. So it filled our class and helped out with everything. But it's hard, man, because on one side of it, people don't believe that we're doing it. We're taking guys on a full expense paid trip to a motorcycle rally. It's like, all right.
So could people like for us? So we have 4 for the road as the Facebook and the Instagram. Most of us are vets that do the page, and obviously a lot of our followers are vet club people or military veterans, etc. Are you guys? Does Throttle Therapy take, I guess, recommendations, or can vets reach out to you and I guess, you know, state their case for lack of a better term? Is that, or are you guys just trying to identify on your own?
No, so I had one of our partners just recently left, so we're picking up some slack right now. We are going to have before the turn of the year. I want to have a Survey Monkey. You guys familiar with that? It's a survey service on, you know, online, and just put it out on our website, our Facebook, Instagram, and then have, you know, people that support us and follow us share it, and just get people to apply. And I'm hoping to. I have one guy right now for Daytona. I got a sponsorship from Frederick, Maryland, from our sponsors over there at Soldier Fit Gym and Platoon 22. They dropped us $10,000 a couple of weeks ago for a participant.
Hey, I'll go to Daytona.
Yeah, so actually that brings up a good question. How do you get guys that need it versus guys like Gangbang Dave there who just want the free trip?
So that's another thing, man. We vet them and we call each dude personally. I had a conversation with each guy that came to Daytona with us and found out what their needs were and what they were struggling with, what their mindset was. Because look, we don't want to take a dude, and this is why we canceled our Myrtle Beach trip for the following foreseeable future with participants, and we're just using it as a fundraising thing because I don't want to take a guy that's struggling with substance or alcohol to sit in front of Suck Bang Blow for a week. You know what I mean? Like, that's not right. Like that's being irresponsible on my end. So it's a hard process to find the right people and the things that they might need. I'm looking for really anybody that needs it, but more specifically to narrow it down to to put a picture to it. Like the kid that just got out of the military that decided he wanted to build motorcycles and he's going to MMI. You know what I mean? Like he has zero concept of what the fuck is going on in life at this point. And like anybody
that's me. That's me today.
Man, look, I've been out since 03 and I'm still struggling. So like it's one of those things we try and trying to say we try and find the right people is a weird thing. you guys know how it is when veterans meet, right? You have two types of scenarios. Either we're gonna go bang it out in the street, and then we're gonna come back inside and drink beer, or we're gonna click and we're just gonna drink beer. So we try and find a people that not necessarily fit a mold, but will click into a spot. And obviously, we don't want drama at the camp and headaches. So we try and find guys that need the counseling, that need, maybe their marriage is fucked up because they don't have enough money saved in a bank or whatever it is, and we can put them through these programs that we have access to all over the country.
So you're open to vets again all over the country. So anybody can contact you guys no matter where they're located at, and you guys are going to help them get connected to resources, participate in these rallies.
Sorry. We so over the past few years, me and a few of the guys that are involved with Throttle, we've accumulated a database of resources. We've unfortunately, in a lot of situations, been the guys that got the call for the funerals, for the suicides, for escorts, for counseling, for guys looking for VA benefits. Doesn't really matter. We were the ones that were getting the phone calls for it. So we have, through that network, have created a database of resources to where we can call, make a few phone calls and find a resource in pretty much anywhere in any area of the country. But see, here's where things get a little weird. Every single time we make that phone call, hey man, Dave, I got this guy Dave in an area that he needs some counseling, and it's like, man, I'll get to him as soon as I have the funding. So that's where we differ from a lot of the other nonprofits, because the participants that we put through whatever area they're in, the money that we have come into our nonprofit goes to facilitating the retreat and then finding and paying for, if needed, the resource in that area. Luckily, come 2022, we'll have counseling in all 50 states free to any veteran and their family through Cohen Clinic. But if there's anything else that we need to pay for, a personal trainer or a financial counselor or something like that, or if it is an area where Cohen can only do telehealth and they need somebody to sit down with, we'll shell out the money to make sure that happens. We'll provide 1 year of full paid resources or connected resources. Is
there any kind of talk or thought about doing a throttle therapy event? You mentioned Daytona, Sturgis, doing your own motorcycle events that people can kind of come out and support and help raise money for?
Funny you asked that. So I don't know how many of you guys are on the East Coast, but we are planning our first rally right now. When we sat down with this originally during COVID, me and one of my partners, we had a 5-year plan that we took to our board chair. And in 5 years, we wanted to be hosting our own rally in Texas. Coincidentally, this year, a buddy of mine came to me from West Virginia, and I'll explain how this is all going to work, and I'll grab a business card so you guys can kind of see what's up. But a buddy of mine from West Virginia hit me up, and I've been out to his property. He has the top of a mountain out there. It's called the Promised Land Jam. We're doing this old school. So like I was saying earlier in the podcast, like, remember back in the day when there was no social media, no cell phones, no text message, anything like that. Well, everywhere we go, who's going to Milwaukee this weekend? You're going to be in Milwaukee?
I live here in Wisconsin. So.
Oh, okay. Come see me. I'll give you one of the business cards. So the business card has nothing on it but the latitude, longitude, and a date and a QR code. The QR code takes you to a website that doesn't have the latitude, longitude, and the date. All it has is the date and the amenities, and it'll have cost on there. Dude's got a full motocross track, flat track, 4-acre pond, burnout pit, concert stage, RV camping, tent camping. We have this thing squared away, set up on the top of a mountain in Paw Paw, West Virginia. So all around the rallies this year, you'll see stickers with the QR code. You can scan the QR code, it'll take you to that website. You have to have or know somebody with a business card in order to find out where this place actually is. So it's all word of mouth, old school, forces people to talk to each other.
Yeah, I like that, and I've seen on IG the stuff for the Promised Land Jam and his campground. Is it all tent camping, or is there other stuff set up there too?
No, he has RV spots up there.
Okay.
I'll be headed up there here in a couple of weeks. I'm building a big gate for him, so there'll be some footage of the area and talk about it while we're up there for sure. And then
are you guys? So you guys are also going to be coming to Mama Tried. Is it going to be just you, or any of the partners coming? Anything like that?
No, it'll be me and Doc. me and him have literally been everywhere together this year, from Daytona to Sturgis, now up to Mama Tried. So
and where? So anybody that's listening that's going to be in the Milwaukee area, where can they find you guys? Where are you going to be at for the weekend?
We'll be set up over at House of Harley with Tommy.
Are you guys going to get in early enough Friday to catch the races too?
I think we're leaving Thursday morning. It's 14 and a half hours, something like that. So we should be there in about 13-ish with the three of us driving, 13 and a half. Get up there, get squared away, and then we hope to be. That was the goal. We wanted to be. There was a couple of things that Tommy told us to be up there for. So Thursday was our leave date for sure, and we're also waiting on some re-up on merch and a couple other things we're catching up on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great time. This will be kind of this is the first time it's really been advertised like this. Some of Drifter's brothers last year for COVID, they canceled it, and Drifter had some brothers that raced professionally, raced flat track, and they kind of set up their own thing. So COVID shut everything down. All the buildings were closed. Everything was canceled, but the basketball arena in downtown was still under construction. And so some of Drifter's brothers, who for legality reasons can remain nameless, but they ended up going into the construction zone. They pitted off some cones in a gravel parking lot and set up an actual barrel racetrack. And the people that ended up in town raced around that racetrack. And security came over and one of Drifter's guys said, "Oh, hey, we're making a commercial for HD." And the security guard was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get out of here." and let him be. He let everybody go.
So you guys also tearing through bars too.
Yeah. So they ride boonie bikes through bars. One dude set up a he went through a porta-john and set it up in his boonie bike, and then rode around in the porta-john with the door to the porta-john open. So
on the streets, you can see him going around that roundabout on city streets with a porta-john.
Yeah, it's a great time, and I don't know if you're into it, but Milwaukee's a very old industrial type town, so the buildings are kind of old. Some of the streets are narrow, and they built bars out of old warehouses. And guys, if it's warm enough, guys will just do wheelies up and down the street and stuff like that. It's a really cool feel for Mama Tried. So I'm excited for. I'm a little bit like I want to hold on to it like it's my own, but I'm glad to see it growing and excited that other people are going to get to see it.
We're excited to be there. The first time we were in Milwaukee was what was the hometown rally? Tommy told us about it like last minute in Sturgis, and we're like, yeah, man, you guys need to come up check this out. And we're like, and Jeff was doing a surprise show up there, so I was like, you know what, fuck it. And we flew up for the day. But that was my first time there at Harley, and then being able to walk through the museum and everything like that. So that was pretty rad. We're really looking forward to this, though.
And I think as a bike guy, it's almost weird to like want to, I guess, talk about a dealership. But like you said, House of Harley, I think, is really one of the, here in Wisconsin anyway, one of the first dealers to kind of really see the other side of it and get away from just dealer stuff and corporate events and that, and really see how to get into the community, I guess, at a more grassroots level, if that's the right word, and putting on, they've grown. House of Harley has looked to expand the hometown rally into something that appeals to a younger crowd or a different crowd. They're obviously doing this with Mama Tried. So Alex over there, like you said, Tommy, they're doing great things at House. For as much praise as you want to put on a Harley dealership, they're doing pretty good stuff. So I'm excited to see where they grow. But
I agree with that.
As far as your stuff goes, one thing that I like that we had talked about on the phone, when you look at vets and you look at the motorcycle community, both are very involved in charity. Both are very charitable kind of avenues, but that also brings out the best and the worst in fucking people. What's kind of some of this shit that you've seen and just being, he just cracked his back and said, let's get into it.
I wish you guys could see the look on Stats' face.
Like he just got ready.
Charities for
man.
He's like, fuck Wounded Warriors.
Well, I'll tell you a story here in a second. But, it's unfortunate that you say that, tragic, because, like, the motorcycle community is so fucking giving. And here's the thing about, and one of the biggest things I've found about the motorcycle community over the years, you can be anybody that you want to be in this community until you actually figure out who the fuck you are. And that's why it works for us, because like y'all remember getting out. It was a shit show. You had no idea which way was up. So to be able to go to a community that's accepting, we all point fingers and laugh. There's always a dude with 50 fucking rings and all the earrings and the holes and all the other shit. Everybody points and laughs. Everybody points and laughs. The big wheel bagger guy that only takes his bike out once a week. Everybody laughs. But everybody has a place in the community. You look at it from doctors and lawyers to outlaws. Everybody has a place in this community, and everybody has their chance to show themselves in this community and be accepted into this community. But the bad thing is, with the nonprofit side of it, is like we were saying before we started recording, when I went and talked to Jace for the first time with Fast Life, he's like, man, he goes, I just didn't know how to answer the question. He goes, there's so many nonprofits that come up and they want to leg up in a community just because they're a nonprofit. They put a bike in a show. They expect to win because they're a nonprofit. You know what I mean? I've had my bike in 7 of Jeff's shows this year, and I've won 2 awards after I painted the damn thing. You know what I mean? Like, so it's one of those things like you can't expect everybody on this call knows you have to pay your dues in this community. One way or another, you have to pay your dues, whether it's time on your motorcycle, being able to sit in a conversation and say, yeah, man, I just rode fucking 6,500 miles to fucking this year to do whatever. Or it's, I'm in this club and I've put blood on the line for my club. Whatever the case is, you earn your bones in this community. And what from his point of view, is a lot of people are trying to come up and say, man, I'm running a charity for XYZ. I just put this bike in a show. We're raising money for, whatever it is, and they expect to win. And then the next thing you know, 2 years later, it's not that charity. It's this individual is a builder or this individual is a painter, and whatever the case is. Like, hands down, I'm out here right now trying to prove everybody wrong. I had a conversation with Adam Sandoval about Wounded Warrior Project. So back when, I don't know if any of you guys are up in the Boston area and know about the Boston Wounded Vet Run, and some of the areas you guys might have the Wounded Vet Run in it. But they rode with 7,500 motorcycles and shut down the city of Boston completely. And their logo was a silhouette of a guy on a motorcycle carrying a guy like on his back. And Wounded Warriors tried to come down and shut us down, and they tried suing us over the logo. Adam pulled up in a Scottsdale Harley dealership when he first started doing a tour with his dog, and I said something about the sticker on his bike, and he's like, man, he goes, I raise about $500,000 a year for them. And, you have to have a CEO that can handle that kind of money and knows how to handle that kind of money, is getting paid adequately to handle that kind of money if you want to bring that kind of money in. I'm here to prove everybody wrong. I want to bring in so much money that we don't have to have any issues with taking care of the veterans that we bring on the road, and nobody from our organization is collecting a salary. I will never collect a salary out of this program. We won't bring on salaried employees unless we have grants or anything like that to pay the salaries for these guys. So the things that we've seen in the community, there's organizations out there right now that are connected with Law Tiger and trying to get in with Black Rifle Coffee and all these other organizations that are saying they're for the veteran community when they're not even run by veterans. And it's like, I'm sitting there and you look at it and they lose the aspect of why. Tell me why you want to bring veterans into the motorcycle community for the first thing. What's the real reason? Because a lot of these people that start these organizations, it's like I said earlier, it's a good cause, but then the money gets in there. And people start raising a lot of money, and then they get lost. And then it's next thing you know, it's me and you on a trip, and we're going wherever to do whatever on motorcycles, but we're saying it's for, this great cause. It's a shitty thing, but what we're doing with all the things with Throttle, I'm hoping to prove a lot of that wrong and to give a different lens to people that are, that say different and that are naysayers to, either the veteran cause or charities in general. I had one person tell me that I shouldn't even be running a nonprofit unless I'm independently wealthy. And, I tell that person the same thing I've told anybody else. I'd quit tomorrow if the VA or if the government or whoever was taking care of the people and doing the things that we're looking to do. If somebody else was doing it, I'd be gone. I'd be done. I'd go back to welding shit.
What's it been like trying to balance getting this off the ground, but also contributing? You're like you said, you're an active club member. I think you said earlier that is it 11 years? So I mean, over a decade now that you've been a patch holder. What's it like trying to make that balance?
This is harder than it was in the beginning. I started a nonprofit in Phoenix with another organization called Infidel Nation out there, and it's a great riding club. We brought that ride up, and they're still going. They just did their 8th year, raised another $20,000 for a local vet, and then I came over to Texas and joined the American Infidels. And being a national club and doing what I'm doing, here's the thing. Anybody that rides with a veteran club that attaches throttle therapy to them, raising money, doing a ride or whatever it is 100% validation across the board. Where with the American Infidels, what they do for us is raise money and raise awareness. So now you have a veteran club raising money for an organization that helps veterans and other veteran nonprofits. It's a no-brainer across the board. It's not a huge struggle because, like, I did about 3,800 miles on my own to the East Coast from Dallas and then all the way around through Ohio and back. And the whole reason was our South Carolina chapter was doing a ride for us. So over the next couple of years, I'd expect almost every chapter across the country to be doing throttle therapy rides. When you have organization that backs what you're doing as hard as they do, it's not that much of a juggle because they're there for everything that you need them to be there for.
Sure, and I think a lot of us, we're not raising money. Ken does a lot of charity, but for the most part, for the Road's not raising money. We're not getting paid, but we're not raising money. But you like you're talking about guys like Drifter, obviously Tragic and stuff. They're in these large clubs, and they're also making that commitment work. They're balancing with what they're putting out, with not the validation. That's not the word I'm looking for, but with the respect to their brothers. So nothing that they say on for the Road is going to go against, something that their brothers wishes. And it sounds like you're kind of doing the same thing, balancing what throttle therapy is doing, although it's very kind of connected, making sure that it doesn't take away anything from your brothers. Is that kind of correct?
Yeah, at the same time, man, I don't want anybody to ever think that throttle therapy is run by the American Infidels, because we got that with 22 Kill all the time. It was like, oh man, 22 Kills run by the American Infidels. Like, whoa, time out. There's only 2 of us that work there. Well, there's only one of me that works at throttle therapy, and I'm the only patch member. So my club nationally does things for us. So it's one of those things, we're there for them, and they're there for us, like they should be, with me being a patch, but they're not connected. The 2 are not connected at all. So it's a relief on that aspect, but doing this at this level and moving as fast as this has moved this year, we're just trying to keep everything on the throttle therapy business side of it all square and separate. Because, man, we're about 3-4 weeks away from opening up our shop here in Dallas, and that's a whole nother thing that's going on with all of this. So, and that's all under throttle and trying to keep it separate with the business.
What do you mean by shop? What are you doing?
So we had our board chair had a storage facility basically that we turned into an office shop space that we were going to grow the community in Dallas, the motorcycle community and veteran community space, just in general. So the one thing in doing the things that we're doing, I feel like in the motorcycle community with the change of, I had Cruzy in Sturgis. He goes, last time I was out here, it was all 40-year-old, 50-year-old titties all over the place. And he goes, now it's these young kids all over the place ripping wheelies and burnouts. I was like, dude, you built this side of the community. You know what I mean? Like California, Arizona, everybody like that, this is what you built. So with that, though, there has been a huge loss to this community. I feel like people have lost the reason why they were a patch, what the actual community means with the brotherhood, the respect, the protocols, the certain things that go on in the community. So having this shop is a space to where we can build that culture back in Dallas, or outskirts of Dallas. And because back in the day when we were working at 22 Kill, people would come into the office just to be there and be around us because they felt like they were part of something, even though they weren't really doing anything. So we want to build a space where any vet can come down, work on their motorcycle for free at the shop. Any parts that they need to order will be cost plus 10%. And then we just work the deal with Central Texas Harley that'll be palletizing all of their takeoff parts every month and sending them up to us. So guys will be able to come in and get that stuff.
I've been out since 2014, so I'm forgetting the name. But what's the thing on base where you could like go? Is it the hobby shop or the auto hobby shop or some shit? So you're kind of doing that, but for motorcycles and vets, they can come. I mean, are they going to be able to like come and work on the bikes, but also just kick it with other vets and have a drink if that's a thing, or just kind of a meetup spot?
Yep, we'll host bike shows, different things out of there to build it up. But that's the gist of it, man. Is just getting a community and a flow of traffic through the shop. That's just a bunch of good dudes hanging out just to hang out. Just like our camp would be when we're out on the road with guys, that's what the shop's going to be back when we're here in Dallas.
And do you feel like, obviously, since we're kind of a MC focused, cultured show, has the reception from the MC community around Dallas? How do are they open to that? Open arms to that? Are they excited about it? Are they kind of like hyped to help you out? Without tossing anybody under the bus.
So, no, here's the funny thing. So, I moved out to Dallas 4 years ago, and I, after a year of being here, I got on the road doing this. So, I haven't been a very active member in Dallas. I've ridden all over the country, talked to clubs from coast to coast, but I haven't done a lot of that politicking here in Dallas. So, we're about to find out. But, I'm interested to see. I mean, honestly, everybody we've talked to around the area, bike nights and stuff like that, let them know. We had people from Central Texas Harley and a couple of the clubs down there met us in Galveston and ran into us in other places in the country. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Anywhere we've been in the country, any clubs that we have talked to about what we're doing, immediately they're like, holy shit, like you're on a different path. I got the chance to talk to a dude in one of the states that I was in that did 37 years for his club. And as I'm talking to him, I didn't know this. And as I'm talking to him, like he's asking me about my bikes and then what we were doing there and everything. And then the next day I walked up to him and I said, "You remember talking to me?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, he took off his hat. He bought one of our hats. He looked, he's like, "Man, I left your hat at home." He goes, "I definitely remember talking to you." I said, "I did a little research on you after me and you talked, and I realized you've been away for a while. But what I also realized is I was telling you about aspects of the community, and it's the only part of the community that you remember from way back 37 years ago." And he's like, "Man," he goes, "I picked up on that 20 seconds into the conversation." So it's been interesting being able to talk to a lot of like old timers and then talk to guys that are like either just coming into the community or been in a community for a couple of years and see just the difference in the two. But also it's given us a lot of validation in what we're doing by getting a chance to talk to some of these older guys that have been around for a minute.
This is just like the article I wrote just the other day about the young guys and how the motorcycle club is seen is actually changing with the new guys. Is this something that you're seeing, that these new guys come in and they're a little different, and sometimes the older guys won't accept that?
You are the older guy. What are you talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I wear my hat backwards just like you.
Bro, you were born in 1587. Calm down.
You have different, like, obviously you have different people for different things. You know what I mean? You're going to get those guys that come into the motorcycle community for the right reasons, but you have those other ones that, and I say this all the time, I feel like it's because of politics and Hollywood is what is like kind of just drowned out what the brotherhood is in the community. Because like, and no disrespect to either of you guys, up there in the diamond clubs, you guys are way above us. But what I see is like, you're like the supporters. It's like, man, we have to do this. We have to wear this color. We have to be here. We have to go there. And they don't understand why. They have zero concept of why. They'll never take the leap to come to you, but there'll be those guys that are all over the community. And unfortunately, like, that's the mass of the community, is the supporters of whatever it might be, all the way from Wounded Warriors to all the big clubs. So when you have all this politics that goes back and forth, and every single state's different. Let me tell you something, by traveling all around the country like I do, every fucking state is different. Every person in every state, every club in every state is different as all hell. And everybody, to a point, a lot of guys have lost that aspect of where the actual reason why. Why'd you put the patch on your back? Why'd you make the commitment to prospect for those months? Why'd you do that? And that part of it's gone. It's like, man, I just want to be the cool guy that rips on fucking dynas, rips wheelies with a patch on my back because that's what they did in Sons of Anarchy. You know what I mean? And it dramatized the world so much that it drowned it out, I feel like, a lot of the real reason. And now a lot of these younger kids that are coming in, it's up to people that have been in a community for a minute to make them understand what the culture is about, what it was founded on and why. And the people that started it in the very beginning, and it was veterans. So it's like, it makes it kind of one of those things that it's an easy segue to get guys into the community and make them see the real reasons of it. But obviously you still have some of those guys that are.
So is that what you're doing at Throttle Therapy?
Is there an age limit? Like, no.
Yeah, because I can fill out one of those forms for you if you want.
You froze up.
Is that something that you do at Throttle Therapy? Do you go over basic protocol, what it's like being in a club, why you want to be in a club? Do you talk about that?
Absolutely, because I feel like just going to a rally, that individuals that have never been to a rally or never been around that scene before, they need to understand what they're about to walk into, club or no club. Like, first and foremost, when dudes walk into our door on that first day at camp, whenever it is that we meet, club's out the window. Like, we're all slick. We tell each other who we are and where we're from, but we all, like, I don't wear, my shit stays at home when I go to the rallies because that's not what I'm there for. I'm there for the guys that I bring to the rally. And that's what I was saying before, is like, my club and my nonprofit are completely separate in that aspect of it. And I want to keep it that way because that's about the last thing we need in a fucking camp is, two guys from two different clubs that want to duke it out because of that. We're not there for that. We're there for healing and trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with each other, so we leave that at the door.
I like that too.
To answer your question.
I like that too, because you're providing, like you said, so you might run into a vet that's just getting into motorcycles and you're providing them an education, whether that's just about what goes on at a rally or if they're interested in clubs. And I think something that like Tragic's a perfect example. He's talked about it much better than I, because he's in that large club, about educating dudes that come around your club or your event, or so as Throttle Therapy, you're kind of responsible in a way for the facts you bring to the rally. Just like, as a larger representative, you should be teaching the support guys what they're supporting. Like anybody, I think Tragic said anybody can sell somebody a t-shirt, but are you providing them a little bit of an education with that t-shirt?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I actually have a question. So I hear that you're bringing around, vets, bringing them into the motorcycle community and stuff. Have you had any guys that you've brought in who've kind of seen what you guys are laying down and providing for them as far as education about the community? Have you seen any of those guys move on and go on to clubs?
The first group I brought out, I had 4 out of 8 were CVMA guys, combat vets. And then there was the other 3 guys were slick. One of them came from a club and didn't want to go to another veteran club and didn't want to go back. And then the other 2 guys just were they just rode. But no, not yet. Maybe in the future. I mean, if you're going to be in this community and not take full advantage of this community, and in order to take full advantage of the community, you kind of need to know a little bit of the history of the community, you're a fool. Because there's so much to this community that people don't get. And to understand about the old school ways and the reasons of why things are the way they are, shaking hands with your gloves off and, not, introducing yourself a certain way and all that stuff. It's all protocol that's been around for longer than fucking us. So, respect it, because this community, very much like your motorcycle, if you don't respect it, it'll hurt you. It'll come back and bite you in the ass.
So, hey, tell us a little bit about these sponsors that you get. Let's give them a little airtime, and I'd like to know a little bit.
So right now, House of Harley is a big supporter of ours, obviously. Tommy Donnelly up there, we met him in Tennessee this past year. Solid dude, solid as they come.
His bike is fucking phenomenal, isn't it?
Oh, my God, that thing is badass. I love that thing. It just got best Softail down here in Austin last weekend. let's see, we got V-Twin Visionary, obviously, linked up with Jeff and Maggie 2 years ago when I brought the first group of guys out to Daytona. Maggie's son's a Marine, so it was kind of just an instant fit, and we've been at every single one of their shows all across the country this year. Let's see, who else do we have? Tad Recovery is our big sponsor. It's our board chair and his son, who's also on our board. Great people. They've been around us for 2 years now, ever since we were right before we started, all the way now until, as we keep going. They're the ones who donated the space to us. Rockford Fosgate, we just picked up a couple weeks ago. They're big supporters of us now. We have a budget on the road next year, so we'll be able to do some cool raffles with people and get into that space. But I'll be honest with you, man. Everything's been running on hopes and dreams for this past year. We've had some good help. I'm not gonna deny that at all. But we definitely need to pull out some more sponsors. That's why we've been running ragged in all these rallies.
What's kind of like so I know we're kind of circling back here, but you talked about getting a group ready for Daytona. Is that something that you can finalize the week before Daytona, or is that something where, you'd like to have people in mind a month or two out yet?
I'm trying. I'd like to have the survey up by January 1 and have my first class vetted out by February, realistically. I have one right now, like I said, he's down there in Daytona area, somewhere in that vicinity, and then I have the individual that they're getting for me from Frederick, Maryland. And so I got two. I just need the other four. If I can get them, and hopefully somewhere in January would be ideal. But if I had to, absolutely, I'll do whatever it takes to make this first year go. I have a big belief. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if we covered it, but what are you? We talked a little bit about the differences in age groups and things like that. But are you seeing younger vets that are kind of gravitating towards throttle therapy? Are you seeing, is it older vets? What are you kind of seeing?
It's a mix, man, because I get a lot of the people that have seen us on the road and that have been hanging out with us on the road. They're the younger generation that can just kind of keep up and ride long distances and whatever. But a lot of the people that were getting hit up on Instagram, Facebook are the older vets, more valuing what we're doing, not really looking to be participants. I'm getting an age group from 20 to maybe 35, almost 40 that would be coming out our way.
So let me ask, so if, a young vet comes in, it's his first ride with you guys to say to one of these big events, what is he looking forward to? He's going to, get on the road, ride with you guys, set up at camp. How long is it till you get to the strip club? You know what I mean? What do they get to see? What do they get to experience?
So that type of stuff, we try, like I was saying earlier, we try and keep that crazy shit to a minimum. I mean, it's a motorcycle rally, so there's shit out there all the time.
Hey, I'm just saying, I cook better on blow. I'm just saying.
But what we do, man, so we get them out, and like I said earlier, we stay at the camp together, we eat breakfast, dinner together, and half work the booth, and then half get to experience the rally. The half to get to experience the rally, I have things set up with some of the vendors out there. Progressive Suspension, JMP Cycle, which I didn't mention earlier, we snatched them up on a Lone Star Rally as a sponsor. We'll be at their grand opening in Tennessee weekend before Laconia. We'll be out there. So we got some deals worked with them on some installs like bars and just different things different places that we can take these guys to get a little bit of a continued education on their bike. So we put together a couple of days worth of classes, a couple of days worth of riding around, see the beach, go, check out the bar scene for a little bit. And then the majority of it, we want to keep, like I was saying, an old school atmosphere. So like Daytona specifically, in the destination Daytona area, I think it's Broken Spoke and Full Throttle that are right up there. Older just group of type people that are up there. But the younger guys that do go up there, it's not that rowdy. I got to worry about a dude getting jumped, which we had happen the first year, unfortunately, down at the bars. So we're trying to keep them all out of trouble. I don't need a wife or girlfriend or mother calling me looking for their kid or their significant other.
So it sounds like you're on the road a lot, man. How is this affecting you personally?
Man, the motorcycle community is what ultimately saved my life. And more connections through the motorcycle community, but I didn't really understand shit until I got on the road. And being on the road is where I level myself. At least once a year, I'll take a long rip, whether it's to my club nationals or like this year I did it on my own, which was enlightening to say the least. But that's where I find it. That's where I find my peace, and I get okay, and I square up for the year. But this shop and the things that we're doing there, that's really going to push us into a whole nother place of just good. There's nothing that is going to be pushed at that shop that's bad. So it's all, man, I try and keep a positive atmosphere and mindset as much as I possibly can with all the shit that goes on daily around everybody. But I'm good. I enjoy this. Like I said earlier, though, I'd gladly do something else if this wasn't my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so you're opening up a shop. You guys have plans to, have, events at that shop in the future?
We do. We're going to be doing opening bike night in January. I don't have the date in front of me right now. I think it's like somewhere 23rd possibly. They just literally sent me the flyer this afternoon. That's the hope that everything's done and ready by then. We'll be doing bike nights, car shows. Talk to Jeff about doing a V-twin show out of the inside of there. Parking lot in the front's big enough for stunts, so we'll definitely have attractions out of there. But yeah. That's a big focus.
You're gonna have it sounded like earlier you're gonna have bike lifts and stuff like that. You said are guys get to bring their own tools in? Are you gonna have like tools that people can community tools and stuff like that?
By mid-year next year, I'll have a box designated for that lift that I'll have out there. Because I'm trying to start this, and right now I'm looking for 2 lifts to start everything. I've got all the tools and everything that's needed at this point, but we get 2 lifts to start it. One of them will be designated for guys to bring their stuff in, and at this point, I'm donating my own stuff. But by
Hear that,
mid-year,
Harbor
I'd like
Freight?
to have a box for them.
Did you hear that, Harbor Freight? If you're out there listening,
That's where I'll be going for the donated tools.
I don't know about Harbor Freight. I think House of Harley. I'm sure they got House of Harley. Alex, Tommy. I'm sure they got an extra lift laying around somewhere. But no, I like that because I don't think that's something that is prevalent. It's not everywhere in the community where you have a community space where guys can come together and work on their bikes. I mean, we have dudes that ride that live in apartments or they live at home or they live whatever. They don't have the space to go and work on their bikes or to learn from somebody like me. Like I can about change your oil. That's about it. So if you can go somewhere and learn from guys that have been doing it or are much more skilled than you are, I think that's an awesome community gathering place to have. I think that's a fucking awesome idea.
Yeah,
well, I remember
absolutely.
you go back to the stories. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to talk shit, man. I kept telling Dave, man, just send your fucking parts down here, ride your bike down here. I'll show you how to work on a bike. But...
No, dude, I saw how you did that thrashing install. I'm good.
Oh my fucking god! I'll be sober when I work on your bike.
Yeah.
sure you will.
No. If I'm working on other people's shit, I am as sober as a new judge.
Yeah, sober as me cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that cocaine helps with that laser fucking focus. You fuck up one job on your bike in 15 fucking years? Nobody ever lets you forget.
Yeah. Well, when you do have that event, I suggest putting there will be strippers on the flyer. You'll get more attendance, whether they're there or not.
Yeah, they don't have to show up.
What you gotta do is put cocaine is complimentary with a little asterisk, and then on the back of the card in super super fine print, you need a magnifying glass for this shit. Just put complimentary is slang for not going to be there this sober part.
Yeah. You don't want to be rated on your first event.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know,
right? Oh man. No, we can definitely throw a party. We if you guys follow Cruzy and all the stuff that he does down there in Phoenix, all the big Sweet 3 parties that he talks about were for our charity back in the day. all ripping wheelies. John Shope come out with a bagger, ripped it down the street, lit it on fire, and slid it down the fucking road. Like, it was all chaos back in the day, man. But
Yeah.
we can do it. We're not going to have a problem there.
Well, and like I said, I like the fact that you're blending, because it's something that we've talked about on the podcast before. And I know Drifter is heavily involved in like blending old school stuff with new blood, with new people. New guys and old guys. It seems, especially in the motorcycle community. And I'm sure it's the same when we talk about whose boot camp was harder and shit like that. They're always just going like this. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Younger guys are doing their thing at Sturgis, but they're over here and the older crowd's over there. And it's the same with Daytona. There's an older section over here and then a younger section over here. But every year they're getting a little bit closer and closer to each other as they expand. And Drifter's done awesome stuff with flat track racing and dirt drags and stuff like that. And taking clubs, inviting new blood and putting on old events, I guess is the best way to put it. And I love seeing that stuff.
Well, yeah, man, you're gonna see the two, like, I'm gonna say just the two generations, right? The older and the younger crowd. You're gonna see them kind of migrate towards each other, because when the younger crowd's getting older, they're gonna want to talk to Jim about, like, Cialis.
What the fuck?
We're gonna need to talk about, drop ship delivery prescription glasses.
Hey, I will say, Jim, wait, Jim, how much older are you than me?
I am 56.
Okay, so you're 20 years.
Really are.
You're 20 years older than me, right?
Shut up.
I'm serious. You're 20 years older than me, right?
Yeah, I'm your dad.
And so Jim and I, we rode to Durango, Colorado, got a hotel together, and then we went out to dinner and we had some beers and we had dinner and whatnot in this place in Durango. And I had the time of my life. And I don't remember where we were. It was somewhere before Durango. We were at this gas station. It was like the worst drought in the West Coast history, if you consider Colorado the West Coast. I do. I'm from Wisconsin. It was hot. It was dry. And Jim he's in this gas station and he's just talking to everybody. And like, I'm trying to find some shade and to like wash my nuts in the bathroom. And Jim's talking to everybody. And then we finished the ride to Durango. Jim's 20 years older than I am. I had a blast with it. It was a great time. So yeah, I think Ken's spot on. You see these older and these new generations just kind of blending up. But I don't know. Now I'm 36. I guess I'm not that young anymore.
But on a serious note, though, like you are going to see that kind of happen, because if I see Jim with a Virginia license plate in Colorado, I'm going to have questions for this guy. Like, hey man, obviously you're fucking about putting down miles. What are some secrets? What are some tips? Like, what kind of seat are you running? Is suspension really that big of a deal? Do I need to change that? Shit like that. And that's where, it's similar to the military, where you see the younger guys finally get enough balls to go ask, 2 pay grades above them something and say, hey, like, boss, like, how the fuck do I get this done without breaking my back all fucking day for this one job? Shit like that. I really like to see it. I'm happy that it does happen. I also just like taking an opportunity every now and then to throw some shaded Drifter.
Whereas the difference with me is that I would have thought Drifter how much fun he was having and been like, that guy looks like a fucking fun time. I'm going to go chop it up with him.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
He is a fun time. He is a fun time. And I can attest, he's a quiet sleeper.
But he'll also leave your ass at the bar at 2 a.m.
Who is?
Jim.
Yeah, I did. I left punk rock at the bar at 2 a.m.
Dude, I never make it that far because he always sends me home with like somebody from Yorktown, and I'm like, where am I? And I wake up at like some dude's house, and I'm like, where am I?
Exactly, dude. You're the fucking pass around girl for Jim and all his. That's why you go visit him and he sends you home with one of the homies from Yorktown. That's why you wake up and you can't sit down quite.
Yeah, but in Jim's defense, they're always very nice upscale communities, so I don't feel that bad.
I get a
100%.
kickback from. I get a kickback on all the ass.
What was that?
I get a kickback from all the ass.
Oh, there you go. Haven't had a bad time with Drifter, and none of the motherfuckers that he has introduced me to has it ever been a bad time.
No.
Oh, challenge accepted.
And I mean, and again, just back to the point, it just sounds like with Throttle Therapy, and you guys blending at House of Harley, again, you're just bringing that different aspects of the community. Like you said, those older vets, the younger vets, motorcycle riders. And then I'm sure, I guess I would imagine from my experiences as a vet, there's got to be dudes giving each other shit about service or who had it tougher in training or whatever.
All the
And I
time.
think that's just a natural evolution of things.
All the time. So it's exactly what you're saying. And we do it through the road, man. And it's just like you guys all riding across the country together and stuff like that. We went to Arkansas for a rally up there, and I had a lady come up to me and she said to me, this is back when we first started, she's like, I really love everything that you guys have, the counseling and everything like that, but I'm not sure how motorcycles fits. I said, ma'am, how long have you and your husband been riding together? She goes, for 16 years. I said, so for 16 years that you've been on the back of that motorcycle through every bad weather condition, all the bike breakdowns, the good times, the bad times, whatever it is. She goes, well, yeah. I said, so you built those bonds through the hardships of the road with your husband, memories that can never be taken away. It's yours and your husband. She goes, yeah. I said, so you take two veterans. Any one of us get on the road together. We already have that bond because we're veterans, whatever branch it might have been, give each other shit, do whatever. But as we ride down that road and we experience those same things together, those are bonds that'll never break. Those are bonds that'll always be together. And that's the biggest part of like all of this that like these guys are missing together. It's just like, it's not like, hey, dude, let's just rip to the fucking bar or rip to the Harley dealership. Nah, dude, let's get on the bikes and rip fucking 3,000 miles, go across the country and live the motherfucking life. Because that's what's going to bring us out. That's what's going to build that bond between us. That's going to help me. And that's going to help you get over what the hell is going on in your head, because you can't focus on anything else besides the front of the road. You can't look behind you and worry about the shit going on behind you because of what's going on in front of you. And that helps each other. So like we're pushing a different thing, man. And like you guys having us on like this, we really appreciate it.
I feel like you just ended the show for us. Like,
Yeah, really.
We're pushing a different thing. We appreciate you.
I saw it was an hour. I know. I didn't know. I've been on like 4 of them this month. So it's been 3 hours, 2 hours, and an hour. So
dude, I tell you what, I love.
Was the 3-hour one Jace?
Jace and Cruzy. We smoked a lot of weed with Cruzy, and I don't drink, and he had me doing fucking shots in the shop. So by the time we left there, my partner Doc couldn't even talk. They put the mic on me like, got something to say? He's like, I'm just way too stoned right now. So it was
Dude,
that's
what I love listening about like Jace's podcast is like the dude always starts off like whatever guest he has. It always starts off real chill. And then like you keep hearing like the glass hit the table or the can hit the table, and you're just like, oh yeah, this is not going to be a 10-minute episode.
No, by the time I got there Monday night, Cruzy and Trent were shithoused. It was hilarious. They were going off on all kinds of random shit. But yeah,
I can't imagine doing I can't imagine doing a 3-hour podcast and trying to stay sober and within boundaries. Within that, and the nice thing for Jace, I love him too, but he doesn't have some of the boundaries maybe that maybe club people do or whatever. But and the fact that he's just a good conversationalist. Like I don't know, I wouldn't find this shit to talk about after an hour and 2 minutes. And Jace is out there for 3 hours doing it. So my hat's off to him. But yeah, that's a good spot to fucking. We can leave it at that and call it a day. And we'll see you this weekend.
Hell yeah, man! I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Me too.
From Milwaukee, any rest of you guys coming in?
No, I'm Southern California, so fuck no.
Right on.
Yeah, all those guys are in warm weather states.
Right on.
Hey,
I'll be
it's
down
down
there
to
in
the
SoCal
40s.
for I'll be in SoCal for our nationals this year, Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
Hell yeah. So hey Staz, thank you so much for your time, man. It's been a great time. And yeah, we're gonna get your website linked in the description of this show here, both on Spotify, whatever you're listening to, and on YouTube.
And then we always promote it. Obviously, we'll promote it on the Instagram and all that good stuff too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you
if
guys
you have
can-
social media links too, we can put those out.
Yeah, anybody that's following or listens to this, you could definitely check us out on Facebook and Instagram under TT Vets, and then ttvets.org is our website. I don't know how quick this is going to go out, but Tuesday's Giving Tuesday for all nonprofits across the country. Company out there is matching up to $8 million. Anybody that puts a throttle therapy fundraiser on Facebook or Instagram, it'll get matched.
So
So we're pushing.
we're
that
gonna have
pretty
you
big.
go over that. We're gonna have you run that one more time. I'm gonna edit this last little bit just so it flows a little bit better at the end. When I point at the screen, or actually, you know what? I'm just gonna ask you: is there anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here? Bring that up again, okay?
Do the whole thing, website and all that. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So, hey, Staz, we appreciate your time, man. This has been really fucking awesome and really informative. You know, you got a bunch of veterans on here, you know, and we all appreciate what you're doing for the community, man. You know, I guarantee you that everybody listening to this show knows at least one veteran that could benefit from your program. And just on behalf of the community, man, thank you so much for what you and your team are doing. Is there anything else that you want to let us know before we get out of here?
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much for having us on, and we look forward to seeing you guys this weekend. But you guys can find us on our website at ttvets.org and then on Facebook and Instagram under ttvets. This next Tuesday is Giving Tuesday. So anybody that does a fundraiser for throttle therapy under Instagram or Facebook, it'll be matched up to $8 million. Obviously, it's not all for us, but we'll get a match out of it. So we'd appreciate some of the help.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, that's our show for this week. Well, maybe not this week. Maybe we'll throw another one in. We don't know yet. As our listeners have learned, we just kind of record when we have time.
Hey, when you get a chance too, you mentioned you might have flyers for some of the stuff that you're starting up in Dallas for the bike for your bike nights and whatnot. Feel free to send us one, and we'll post it in the Instagram stories and whatnot too. So vets can get connected to that.
I will. Here, check. This is the card I was telling you about.
Other than that, Ken can go fuck himself. That's all I wanted to add.
So, like I was saying, how do I get this on there? And there we go. Latitude, longitude, and a date, and then a QR code. So when people get this card, having this card is the only way that you're going to know exactly where, when, and how much. So that's just all word of mouth, man. I'll give you guys a couple of these up there this weekend, and then just spread the word. Paw Paw, West Virginia.
Looking forward to it, and like I said, we'll see you this weekend.